Hello, it's me, the enthusiastic futurist, and today we're going to be recreating SpaceX drone ship landings in Minecraft. So here we are going to start with a big rectangle made out of coal blocks. I used a coal blocks because of the texture it provided, and we have surrounded it by walls, which are later going to be used to border water. I'm going to fill it with water so it looks like it's on the ocean. So, um, so right now we're going to start with building the circle the white big circle that goes around, which is part of the target for the booster to land on. I decided to use to put the booster or the circle when I was initially building it on top of the deck instead of sunken in the deck because it was easier to delete blocks. And then later, when I got the circle finished, I sunk it down into the deck. Now, um, I didn't include the part where I actually created the deck because it was just a bunch of use of the fill command, and it was just kind of boring to get. It was kind of complicated to get the the coordinates right and all that stuff. So I just omitted it from this episode. Now there will be 3 episodes in this series. There will be the first episode will be creating the the circles and X in the deck, and the next episode will be making uh, more smaller changes to the drone ship, such as taking out the corners and adding some containers on the edges. And then in the third episode, we're going to build the, the booster that's landed on the drone ship. Now, um, you see, I am using here for the white. I'm using a block of quartz because I thought it looked really white compared to the other blocks that are available. And I went for the coal block on the deck because it provided the texture of drone ship deck that I was looking for. So the scale of this uh, the scale of this creation is actually 1 block for every 2 feet in the real world. So I took the number of feet that it was and divided by 2 to get the number of blocks that everything should be. And I used a website that allowed me to create that gave me like the path for where the blocks should go to make a circle. Because in Minecraft you can only place blocks in like cubicle blocks in a 3D space in like a grid. So so yeah. So here we are, just continuing on with the circle. Um, there was the slight breaks are me looking over at this the website to see where I should put the next blocks. And here we go. We're 3/4 of the way done. I'm just checking on my progress and back at it. So yeah. So I chose to do this creation in Minecraft because it offers a lot of creative control and don't worry about that background noise. It's just my brother. Um, he's disabled. Anyway, so I'm going to um, So I chose Minecraft because it allows for a lot of creative control and there's not any limits to where you can put the blocks. Um, Now I did do the 1 to 2 scale because so here we the circle messed up, so we're gonna go at it again. Eh. All right, so here we're starting over. I deleted those blocks and starting over. So like I said, I chose the 1 to 2 scale because the 1 to 1 scale, the fog in Minecraft prevented the whole drone ship from being seen. So here I am taking a different approach to the creation of the circle. Since the circle is symmetrical, I'm doing a little bit on one side, then moving on to the other side and do the same little bit, and then continuing on. That way, it sort of builds from the ground up instead of around in a circle. Now, yeah. So, so here this is the second attempt of adding the white, and as you'll see soon, this is the final attempt. I didn't need uh, any more I didn't have any more fail uh, things where I needed to start over, and as you can see, so far it's interesting. Um, so I chose to put the when I was creating the block the design, I chose to put the blocks on top of the deck instead of sunken in the deck initially because it was easier to delete blocks uh, if I needed to, and also I it was also easier to place the blocks in the first place. So now we've completed the bottom half of the circle, and I've run into some technical issues. So just it'll be fixed soon. The mouse wasn't controlling the camera. Anyway, now we're fixed. So I'm gonna move on to the big long edge part of the circle, and the same thing on the other side. So I am not that good at Minecraft. This is one of my first creations, so please bear that in mind as you watch the footage. Um, Yeah, so it was kind of hard to judge. It was kind of hard to judge what some of the things in the drone ship were because there's not much online documentation about like dimensions or uh, things that are on the deck. Like I couldn't find anything about like those big boxes on the side of the deck. But I do know that in one of the boxes, it's like an armored box and that has the 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 little robot that sort of when the drone it's encased in like a little casing in like a shipping container because when the rocket lands it needs to be protected from its fumes. It's like hot exhaust, and so then when the rocket lands the little robot, it's called the octograbber, comes out and sort of grabs onto the bottom of the drone ship or the booster and sort of lowers its center of mass so when it's going into port it doesn't the rocket doesn't tip over. And now they used to when the booster landed they used to have to um, have people like weld the legs to the deck, but that didn't really that was too unsafe, and so they decided against it. So here I've run into a little mishap, um, but it's easily fixed if I just need to find the source of the problem. See, it's right there, so now I just delete that and fix it. So anyway, like I was saying, they used to literally have like feet, like metal feet that they would weld to the landing legs and to the drone ship so that it couldn't fall. And actually, there was a mishap once with the Falcon Heavy Center core. The Octograbber wasn't equipped with the right technology to hold onto it, so uh, the Falcon Heavy Center core from the Arabsat 6A mission was just sort of left there, and it fell over in rough seas during transit, and so that was unfortunate. Anyway, so here we're sinking the white circle into the deck by just cutting out all those blocks, making like a cutting into the drone ship where it should go, and then later we'll the next step will be to fill in the holes with the white blocks. So we're just going around in a circle, filling in the or deleting the white blocks and the blocks under it, so that we can create etch and cut into the drone ship exactly where we need to. So so far so good. So this, as I said, this was one of my first videos on this channel, and my channel is it's not going to be mostly like Minecraft, but that's going to be some things. I'm mostly going to do like videos like uh, talking about interesting things in the space flight or uh, things related to the future. And as my name suggests, I am the enthusiastic futurist, very excited about the future and what technologies it'll bring. So I'm going to do some videos about those technologies and how they're developing at a rapid pace and what it means for the future. So, like, reusable rockets is something that's definitely shaping the way that the future is going to look. Um, so yeah, it's going to be mostly like uh, educational scripted videos and like that. Um, I have two videos so far. I have what how long will Starman be playing Space Oddity? That was my first video, and it's it's pretty short. It's only about 3 minutes long, but it goes into like the math of like the size of the battery for uh, Elon Musk's Roadster that he sent into space in 2018, and we looked at the sound system specs and how what its energy rating is, because when it was when the Roadster was launched, its stereo was set to play the song Space Oddity on full volume on repeat. So it it kind of it ran out of battery rather abruptly, I'll say. I don't want to spoil anything. You should go check it out yourself. And then my second video is about how ancient Greeks made maps and navigated the seas, because there were quite a few wars in like during that time, and they had to. So anyway, so here we finished the white circle, and so it's perfect. So now we're going to create the yellow circle, which goes inside it, and then we're going to take us the same approach as last time. We're going to put the blocks on top, and then sink them, and then etch into the drone ship, and then fill them in. And so, yeah, so now we gotta choose the yellow block that looks good, and the choice is obvious: yellow concrete. So there we go. Yeah, since the yellow circle is a lot shorter, it took a lot less time to fill it in, and plus I had an advantage where I didn't mess up this time, except for this one part where I made the circle in the wrong direction. So trying again. So yeah, so I think I've covered most of the things I want to talk about so far. So just gonna let the footage play for a little bit. So one other advantage of using the on top of the deck technique is that it's also a lot easier to place the blocks. I don't know if I've already said that, but it you don't have to like dig and then place the block. I found it much more easy to use, and uh, I used the first technique where I just build around the circle instead of sort of shaping it from the ground up, and it worked this time. Maybe because it was a smaller circle, and circle looks perfectly in the center. So now we're going to do the etching technique. So here we go, and after we sink the the yellow circle in, we're going to add the X, which goes in the center of the drone ship, sort of like the target for where the booster should land. And if you've seen, if you want to know what it looks like from the booster's perspective when it lands on the drone ship, I would highly recommend the footage from the CRS-17 mission. It has footage from there's just like the webcast on YouTube from SpaceX, and the footage is amazing because it's from the point of view of the booster the whole way, and you can see, and it's even though it was at night, the engine exhaust illuminated the whole drone ship, and it was beautiful. And I would also recommend the how not to land a orbital rocket booster video, because it's really funny. It shows all the failed attempts of the SpaceX drone ship landings. So now you see uh, the little black block that I'm putting in the center of each long edge on the circle is because on the actual drone ship there's like a little black spot, and so I was trying to create it as evenly as possible. So now we have the two circles sunken into the deck, so now we're going to move on to the X. So I actually created all of these. I did the whole um, creating of the drone ship, and then I ran into a computer problem, and so I didn't get to edit the videos for a little bit. So, but here I am, problem fixed. So now we're gonna create the X. So I'm just sort of doing this by uh, what looks good, but I didn't really have any size dimensions. I just sort of eyeballed it from the pictures that I could find. And as you can see here, I kind of messed up. I did it the short way, but I didn't notice that until I sunken in the X, so it's kind of unfortunate. But yeah, the X's get sunken in and then refilled in and then resunken. It's uh because I put the long end on the wrong side, because the SpaceX logo is like a normal X except the upper right end goes like up and out. It looks really cool, I think. But yeah, I did it on the downward side now, so I gotta um delete it. But first, I'm going to recreate it on the side that it should be. And spoiler, this is actually not the side. I decided to go on the other side, like 180 degrees later, but yeah, you'll see. So I do think that the colors that I chose for the blocks actually really reflect the drone ship texture and colors really well. So I really like that. Um, yeah, in the next episode, we're going to be continuing on with this. We're going to cut out the corners and add the like container ships on the edge that I was talking about earlier. So now I've decided that I want the drone ship to be upside down from this, because I want the edge on the bottom though to be the wider edge, because at the time I wanted to add in the words "Of course I still love you," which is actually on um the drone ship. Actually, SpaceX has two drone ships. They have "Of course I still love you," which is stationed on the east coast, and for like launches out of Kennedy Space Center at Launch Complex 39A, and out of the Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. They're actually within a few miles of each other, but they they use the same drone ship. And they also have a drone ship called, of course, Just Read the Instructions, which is stationed in California for launches out of Vandenberg Air Force Base, which is a Space Launch Complex 4E, I think. And that might be wrong. So, but that drone ship is used primarily for polar orbit launches, and there's actually not going to be another launch out of there for till 2019. So, but anyway, here we have finished uh, drone the finished drone ship for this episode. Next episode, we're gonna, as I said, cut the corners and add in the blocks. Thank you for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, and I will see you in another video.